We're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my metal stand dry spell finally came to an end. Mwah. Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie, and this is our 67th Dinking Around.
Aw, yeah, episode number 67.
Yes, we have a juicy one for you tonight, guys. It's going to be very juicy. You want to know what else is juicy? Our friends over at Pickleball. Guys, let me tell you something. Juicy is the only way I can describe these paddles. I don't know if that's the right term or not, but I'm going to go with it because I love it. My 16 millimeter Mach 1 is my favorite paddle. I've been playing with it before we even partnered up with Valère. Webby, tell us about your favorite paddle right now.
Currently, my favorite is the 16 millimeter Mach 2 Forza. Absolutely loving that paddle. It has a huge sweet spot. It's got a real wide body shape, and I am loving it.
Well, guys, you can love it too by going to Valère.com and using coupon code PB for life to get what, Webby?
You're going to get yourself 10% off your order, and you're going to help support our YouTube channel.
That's right. Help support us. Help continue to support Valère, a great company that makes great pickleball products. You're not going to be disappointed. Valère.com, coupon code PB for life.
But Eddie, I have a question for you.
What in the world is in that drink? What you got in that drink?
That's right, Eddie. I would love to know what you're drinking tonight.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I think I might have a little bit of a cold or something. It might be allergies. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to skip the alcohol tonight. And I'm loving these sparkling waters from Waterloo. Black cherry flavor is probably one of my favorites. I like it. It's nice, refreshing. It's good. So I'm going to drink it.
Nice. Sounds very tasty.
What are you going to be enjoying today?
Well, last week I ended my series of beers from the Bell's Brewery variety pack I was drinking. And today I'm not really craving anything specific. So I feel like whenever I'm in that type of mood, I like to go with an old reliable favorite. And that is Fat Tire from New Belgium Brewing. Absolutely love this beer. So that is what I will be sipping on tonight.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Love me some Fat Tire. And Webby, while we're enjoying these beverages, sounds like you might have some shout outs. I don't know. We might need to make this into a segment of shout outs. How would the theme song go, Webby?
Shout out!
I don't know. We can tweak that a little bit, but something like that.
I like it here. But yeah, you want to share some shout outs with the whole world?
Yeah, I do have a couple people I want to shout out. First off, Nick Hernandez. He was in the most recent episode of Webby versus Everybody that just dropped recently. And we had a great battle on the court. And he was nice enough to give me a tour of the brand new pickleball facility known as Bash Pickleball Club in Warren, Michigan. This place is awesome. It has 10 dedicated indoor pickleball courts. As you all know, I love playing indoor pickleball. So if you're in the Warren, Michigan area, you got to check out Bash Pickleball Club. Also, he was a great sport and used the 5 below paddle during our Webby versus Everybody singles match. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, you're going to want to watch it. It was a fun one. He somehow managed to get a tweener while using the 5 below paddle, which is extremely impressive. And then I also want to give a shout out to Jason Parr of Made in Detroit Pickleball. He and I met up for 2 hours this morning and played singles nonstop for 2 hours. It was absolutely awesome. He's almost 20 years older than me, and he totally kicked my ass every game. But I appreciate that. I love playing with high-level players. He's got to be like around 5.0. His playing skills are so good. I never got pickled, though, so I consider that a win. I did not get pickled at all in any of the games that we played, but I just want to thank him for that. And then also he hooked me up with this sweet hat. It says Dink Detroit Pickleball. But thank you, Jason, for the great games, and I definitely want to rematch, and I will beat you by the end of the summer. I guarantee that.
I love it. Great shout outs, Webby. But I got a question for you, and I want it answered immediately. What time is it?
Now it's time for Memes of the Week. Yeah!
That's right. Memes of the Week, the hottest segment in all of pickleball podcasting. And Eddie, I would love to know, what kind of memes do you have this week?
Oh, I got a banger for you, like I always do. This one is from our friend Chris Callie with Sorry Not Sorry Pickleball. And this is also the most recent Hooks of the Week segment from his podcast, which, if you'll notice, it's sponsored by a company that you might be familiar with, which, by the way, Webby, quick shout out, Close Call Replay will be the line challenge system officially being used at the Beer City Open for the Major League Pickleball event. Super excited about that.
Nice.
If you guys are at Beer City Open, come on over and say hi as we are getting those 240 frames per second line challenges ready within seconds of them happening. As soon as a call is made, we're going to have them up and ready. It's going to be amazing. So big thank you to the Grand Rapids pickleball community for bringing on Close Call Replay. But now to the part that you guys actually care about. I love that intro, by the way.
This came in the bronze medal match. Plenty of line refs there. And look at this to get the game started. Close call. Leia calls it out. Ref overturns it. This shot from Salome, it's going to sail long. That did look long.
He defers to the line ref, and he calls it in.
Wow! So it's 1-1 now. They're still so early. And look at this, another close call. Leia calls it out.
And it was in.
They overturn a third one. This is
Seriously.
unreal. It's 3-0 in the first game. Look at this. Leia calls it out. What do you think is going to
What's it
happen?
gonna be?
Just based off probability so far.
We're going to consult with the ref, and the referee calls the ball in.
Oh, man.
Unreal. The fourth one. Let's see. Oh, that hits the line for sure. Oh, that's a hook.
First of all, I don't know what I love more. Chris Callie doing a great job for this Hooks of the Week segment. Rob Cassidy on the microphone, just going crazy with the refs calling.
Right.
The fact that they actually had line judges down every single line during that match, when there's a lot of technology out there that is way better than a human staring at a line for an hour.
Yep.
I don't know what's crazier to me with all of that, but I love that meme. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought that was great. And yeah, Rob Cassidy on commentary, I am a huge fan of that. I feel like he definitely made that clip even better with his commentary there. But yeah, I absolutely love that segment from Chris Callie. Such a good job.
If you guys haven't checked out Sorry Not Sorry Pickleball, you got to do it.
Yeah, I will. Even if I do watch the tournament, I still like to watch his recaps because they're just so good. And I love to hear his take on the things that happen. It's just, it's so good. I love that kind of thing. It's kind of funny that your meme of the week involved Leia Jansen because my meme of the week also involves Leia Jansen. And some of you out there might already be familiar with the drama that was going on the court between Leia Jansen and Andrea Koop in a recent women's doubles match. And this meme is absolutely hilarious. It took place during the doubles match in question, and there was somebody in the front row of the crowd who had a classic expression. And then good old memes of pickleball, they take that clip and enhance it with some sound effects. And let's go ahead and just play the clip.
Uh-oh, controversy. Uh-oh, controversy.
Can we watch it again, Webby?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so good.
It's so good. I've watched that probably 50 times already, and it cracks me up every single time. And kudos to Memes of Pickleball because I watched that match. I didn't notice that guy in the background. I went back and watched it after seeing that clip again. Like, it's such a quick thing. Like, I don't know how he zoned in perfectly to find that clip, and because he had to freeze it just at the right time and then adding those sound effects. It was so good. I love it.
That was classic. Another solid meme from Memes of Pickleball. Man, keep the stuff coming. We love it. I mean, it's so good.
Yeah, I feel like we're almost going to need to rename this segment Memes of Pickleball's Clip of the Week or something because he's featured almost every week. We've had some weeks where we didn't show a meme of his, but I mean, it's so hard not to because he has so many and they're so darn good.
Well, Webby, that was great, but it's time.
Now it's time for Topics of the Week.
That's right, Topics of the Week. Every week, Webby and I are going to pick a topic, and we're going to talk about it. Webby, why don't you kick us off with your topic this week?
Well, my topic actually ties in perfectly with both of the memes that we chose this week, and it has to do with line calls. I feel like controversial line calls have been very prevalent in pro pickleball lately, but I don't really want to focus on the pro pickleball controversial line calls. I just want to talk about line calls in general because lately I have experienced a lot of bad line calls. When I go back and watch the footage from the tournaments that I do, I feel like almost every tournament I do, there are bad line calls. Now, I know in most cases, they're not intentional. Everybody makes mistakes. You and I have both made bad line calls from time to time. I'm not too worried about that if it's like a one-off type of thing or if it's like a super close call. What I'm talking about is the people that are just notorious and known for intentionally making bad line calls. And I feel like everybody knows at least some people that are intentionally making bad line calls. It just happens too frequently for it to be a mistake here and there. And recently I was in a singles tournament where it was somebody that I had played with in the past, and I knew that there was a chance there would be some bad line calls. Sure enough, there were at least 3 bad line calls. But what made it even worse is there were a couple times where I called the ball out and they challenged me on it and made it seem like I was intentionally making bad line calls. And I'll be honest, I kind of got fed up at that point to where I was getting vocal, basically saying how I didn't think he was doing the right thing with the way he was doing line calls. And it's not the first time. There's probably been 3 different tournaments I can think of where I actually got vocal because I got so pissed off at the person I was playing against because they were just blatantly making bad line calls. So mainly my question for you and everybody tuning in is, how do you handle playing against somebody who blatantly makes bad calls and it's pretty obvious that they do it intentionally? And it doesn't have to be during tournaments, even during rec play. Do you just brush it off? Do you say something? Does it take a certain amount of times before you finally say something? I'm curious to know.
Well, in rec play, I don't really care, to be honest with you. Like, I don't understand why people go to rec play that just want to win, right? Like, it doesn't really matter to me. I've beat people that would kick my butt in a tournament in rec play, and I've lost to people that I had no sense losing to in rec play because it's rec play. It's what you're there for. So if somebody wants to make some crappy calls, I might be like, after the second one, I'm like, you sure about that? Like kind of making a joke around it. Because personally for me, here's how I make calls in rec play. If I know that the ball is 100% out, but it's close, but I can keep the ball in play and it's not going to set my opponent up to just destroy me, then I'll play it. However, if it's definitely out, like let's say somebody serves the ball and it's a few inches out and I know that I'm going to get jammed and I'm not going to be able to do a solid return to set up a good point, then I'll call it out. But I'll probably play it more than I will call it out just because that's what I'm there to do. I'm not there to win. I'm there to have fun. And yes, I understand there's a reason why we have line calls in place. But if I can keep that ball going and it's a fun point, why would I stop it because the ball was a little bit out? Now, if somebody is telling me that they're training for a tournament, I might afterwards just be like, hey, just so you know, that one back there was out. I played it though, just because. And they're usually very receptive about it. But I don't understand the whole desire in rec play to play so seriously that out balls are even a question if it's something that you can easily get back into play. So that's my take on it from a rec perspective. As far as tournaments, I don't know. I guess we can keep talking about that. But what's your thought on that as far as recreation play goes, Webby?
So a pet peeve of mine is when people have the mindset of, if in doubt, call it out. I hear people say that all the time. And I feel like most people are joking when they say that. But I definitely know some people that live by that motto and they aren't joking. Like they really do. That's how they feel. Like if there's any question that it might be out, just call it out. I mean, because like what's going to happen? I mean, most people aren't going to challenge it. And in tournaments, you can't challenge it. What I do in rec play sometimes, if it's blatantly, like if it's way, way in and they call it out, I'll say, ref, did you see that? Just as a way to like say like, I'm pretty sure that was in and anybody nearby probably would have noticed it. But I'm like you for the most part. In rec play, I really don't care that much. But when it's a tournament and something's on the line, I definitely care a little bit more, especially in singles, because it is so frustrating when you're playing singles. Because, you're chasing the ball left and right. And if you hit a ball like on the line and it's a really great shot and you're really proud of it and then they call it out, that's just so demoralizing, so deflating. And I just can't stand it. So in tournaments, it definitely matters more to me. But like I was saying before, if it's really close, and it seems like a one-off and they genuinely thought it was out, then okay. When it comes to people that are, it's pretty clear that they're going to call anything that's close out. It's just very frustrating when people play like that. And like I said before, like I hate the motto of if in doubt, call it out.
Yep.
I came up with one that I feel like more people should live by. If you're unsure, be mature and play it like it's in. It doesn't flow as good, but I feel like somebody should come up with some good motto for that type of mantra.
Well, I think it's if it's not blatantly out, it's in. That's my take on it. If I don't 100% see that the ball is out, I will always call it in. And honestly,
yeah,
I think that that's actually how we should do it from a pro level too. If there's a video line challenge, even if the call was out, I don't think it should be a not enough to overturn if they can't clearly see the ball when it hits the ground to tell whether it's in or out. I personally think if there's not enough evidence to show the ball is out, regardless of whether it was called out or in, the ball should be in. Because I think that we need to default to the ball being in. And I think that's going to change the mindset around line calls and such. Going back to tournaments, though, I will tell you a few years ago, I did play in a singles tournament and I lost to a guy in his 80s. And I will tell you, and I have it on video, there were about 5 or 6 shots. I did some cross-court winners that were beautiful, and I was so psyched. And he called every one of them out. And he was getting mad that I kept celebrating as I hit the shot because I knew it was a clean winner. And I don't think he was doing it on purpose. But I do know that I felt the frustration of that moment, similar to what you're talking about, because it's not only I hit a reactive shot and it hit the line and they called it out, or it was a mishit that really landed in, but they called it out. I'm playing singles. I made the best cross-court topspin winner that landed inside the line, and you're going to call it out. So yes, I think that those situations are far more frustrating than my mishit really landed in and you called it out.
Yeah. And in the same singles tournament that I was talking about where I played with somebody that was kind of shady with their line calls, there was another game where my opponent made a bad call. I thought it was bad at the time, but I moved on, and that was the only incident the whole time, so I didn't think much of it. Later on, when I watched the footage, it was clearly in, and he was also on the older side, so I'm not really mad at him or anything, but it was pretty crucial because we had a very close game, and I was serving at the time, so it would have been my point. He called it out, and then he went on a run, and I think he got like 4 or 5 points in a row, and he ended up beating me, and I think he only beat me by like 2 or 3 points. And it's one of those things where it's like, man, if it wasn't for that one bad call, I mean, this outcome could have been very, very different because I would have had an extra point and I would have been continuing to serve and stuff like that. So, but that's one where I wasn't too mad because it was only the one time. He was also a little older, and I don't think it was intentional. So stuff like that doesn't bother me. I mean, obviously, I wish it would have worked out the way it should have to where I got the point when I earned it, but. Yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, I know, like I said before, we've all made bad calls, but I know most people don't do it intentionally, and it's for the best. But I totally agree with what you said, how I feel like the ball being in should be the default and then only out if you're absolutely sure. And I like how a lot of tournaments will say, like, don't call it out unless you see space between the ball and the line. And I feel like that's how everybody should do it. And I hope that's how it becomes. But we know there's always going to be jackasses that are going to be questionable.
Well, so we know how to solve this on the pro level, right? At the pro level, they can afford to have line challenges, but we do need to move, I believe, to a system of where there's repercussions for making bad calls. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're going to eventually evolve to there. But the key is to obviously be able to properly challenge those balls and have a good line challenge system in place, which you all know what I'm going to say, but I think that's how we handle it from a pro level. Let's talk amateur level, though, right? Obviously, if it's a local tournament, they can't afford to put a line challenge system in place on every court. The second best thing, which I hate, but is line judges, right? Because humans they're not good at staring at something for hours on end and making calls.
Yep.
But even then, it's not like they can afford referees or people to do that. So are there things that we can do or these tournaments can do to really help promote fair line calling and maybe hold people accountable?
Yeah, it's tough on the amateur level for sure, but I definitely think that's where it has to go for the pro pickleball world, is there has to be accountability for when people make bad line calls, and hopefully everybody starts implementing close call replay, and then that can happen.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have an idea of how it can be handled on the amateur level, let us know it in the comments down below. Also, maybe you've been in a tournament where you've had a bad line call against you, or you yourself have made a bad line call, or they've implemented a system to help mitigate a lot of these bad line calls. We'd love to hear about it. Throw it down in the comments below, because these topics aren't just for us to discuss. We want to know your opinions as well.
That's right, but that was my topic. Eddie, I would love to know, what is your topic of the week?
Well, my topic of the week has to do with balls, specifically Vulcan balls. And this new Vulcan ball, as you guys may or may not know, Vulcan paid a lot of money to make the Vulcan ball the exclusive ball of PPA. And I want to know, Webby, do you think it is helping or hurting pro pickleball? I'm sure you've seen that since the Vulcan ball has been in play, there's been a lot more whiffs from these pro players than we've seen in the past. I mean, God, sometimes we would go entire tournaments without ever seeing a whiff. Now I feel like we're seeing a whiff once a match. You see that the ball is very inconsistent or has very unpredictable bounces where literally it's coming this far off the ground when you would expect it to be, inches or feet. You hear and you see frustration on and off the court from these players, and pros are complaining about the ball. So I have a few other parts of this I want to talk through, but initially, Webby, what are your thoughts on the Vulcan ball? Is it hurting or helping pro pickleball?
I definitely think it is hurting, mainly because to me, it just seems like a money grab. I'm sure Vulcan is offering a lot of money to the PPA to use that ball. And I feel like anything where money is the driving factor is never a good thing. I would hope that they ran it by a majority of their pros to make sure that they were okay with playing with that ball before making that decision. But due to the fact that so many people are complaining about it, it leads me to believe they did not do something like that. So, yeah, to me, if money was the driving factor and not the ball that people prefer, then I absolutely think it's hurting.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be creating a lack of predictability in the sport. And to me, I think if we look at sports in general, right? Like, sports are basically rules, and these rules are made around some predictable things, right? Like pickleball, you have a rules, with lines in a kitchen, and you have to hit the ball and it has to bounce twice. And, there's a lot of rules that are based on predictable outcomes. And then the unpredictability should come from talents and skills, like pros holding their paddle until the very last second to redirect it in a way that you don't see it coming, right? Or really being able to drive that ball hard, not giving you and your opponent enough time to be able to predict to where the ball is going to be or how fast it's going to come. So now you take that unpredictability that is an incentive of, drilling and working hard and talent and maybe even a little bit of luck. And now you're adding it to where is the ball going to bounce? And not because of how much spin I put on it, or not because of maybe a bad court surface, or not because of wind, but just because of the fact that the ball has a flat spot and it goes from bouncing 8 inches high to going 1 inch off the ground. That change in predictability, I think, is very detrimental to pro sports.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not good. We want a ball where the rallies are determined based on the player's skills and not because of a defective ball, possibly. So
I definitely think that Vulcan needs to, clean up their act when it comes to this ball a little bit. I've heard rumors that they are. I've heard that they're fixing the ball. They're going to mitigate this. And listen, I'm not saying that the Dura was a perfect ball. We all know why it had the nickname of the Dura Crack 40, right? I'm also not defending the Franklin, although most people down here in Florida play with the Franklin. That ball goes out around too, leading to some unpredictability in it. but it just seems like it's way more prevalent and it's causing a lot more unpredictability from the pros. So clean it up, Vulcan. Let's get a different ball, or let's make sure that your ball is going to help drive the sport forward, not lead to unpredictability that can hurt the sport. That's my take. That's Webby's take. We want to know your take. Please let us know down in the comments below. And as you're leaving comments down below, you should also go check out our friends over at Jigsaw Health, jigsawhealth.com. They have tons of great products. Webby, how do you like to stay hydrated on and off the pickleball court?
Well, one way I love to stay hydrated is to start my day with blue raspberry pickleball cocktail. It is delicious. I also like the orange flavor as well. Sometimes I go back and forth on which packet I purchase, but currently I am enjoying the blue raspberry when I start my mornings.
Well, I definitely love the blue raspberry pickleball cocktail as well. I also use a lot of other great products on a day-to-day basis from Jigsaw Health. And Webby, I don't know if you knew this or not, but they just came out with this skincare line as well. Have you seen that?
Actually, my wife noticed that. She's the one that told me about it. She was like, did you know Jigsaw has a skincare line? I did not know that.
I didn't know either until I saw it. So really exciting stuff. Jigsaw Health is also the company that is obsessed with pickleball more than we are, so much so that they created their own indoor facility, the Orchard at Jigsaw Health. They created the Arizona Pickleball League. They live, eat, drink, sleep, everything pickleball. Check them out, jigsawhealth.com. You can use coupon code PB for life 10 to get what, Webby?
You're going to get yourself $10 off your order and help support us in the process.
Yes, their products are going to make you feel good because at Jigsaw Health, it's fun to feel good. Jigsawhealth.com, coupon code PB for life 10. And Webby, I want to know your
Closing thoughts.
So what did we learn today? We learned that Chris Callie's Hook of the Week segment is absolutely awesome, especially when Rob Cassidy is on commentary during the clip that he shows. We also learned if you're in the front row of a pro pickleball match and you have a funny reaction, Memes of Pickleball is probably going to pounce on it. We also learned that you should not make bad line calls. Just don't do it.
You better not. You better not.
And we learned when it comes to pro pickleball, when it comes to the ball that is being used, money should not be the driving factor. We need a ball that is good with performance and reliable, and everybody will be much happier if that's the case. But I thought this was a very good episode. We had some great memes, great topics. It was a lot of fun.
As always, we want to know your opinion as well, so please put it down in the comments below. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
Yeah.
Well, we're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh, yeah.